players love the roar the crowds in a close game in the Superdome makes, but you may well leave that game with your ears ringing a lot. That might be expected, but if you suffer from long-lasting ringing in your ears, you may have a condition that many know as tinnitus. Today, a medical expert explains what causes this and how to treat it. With us today is Dr. Majoué with LSU Health Audiology. She is an assistant professor to break it all down for us today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So we had an interesting conversation here off camera. We say tinnitus, you say tinnitus. Tell us the evolution there of the pronunciation and how some people say one and you say the other.
Well, there's no really right or wrong way to say it. Some individuals say tinnitus, some say tinnitus. I've found most of the time in healthcare it's tinnitus.
Tinnitus. Yes. Okay, I'm glad you settled that. Okay, what is the most common cause of this, and what exactly is it?
So subjective tinnitus, the definition of that is going to be the phantom perception of a noise in the absence of sound. So basically ringing, hissing, buzzing, clicking, chirping that one hears in their ears or in their head or around their head that doesn't really come from a sound source. It's typically associated with sensorineural hearing loss, and the most common cause of sensorineural hearing loss is aging and noise exposure.
So would this only be affecting a person in a certain age range? I mean, how many people deal with this, and is it just a certain age range?
Well, I think for a long time it was thought of something that affected older people more often, and that's simply due to noise exposure and hearing loss due to aging. But now we're seeing younger and younger people being diagnosed with hearing loss due to noise exposure at younger ages. So really tinnitus can affect any level of the lifespan.
So what could trigger this in younger people, and what are some of the causes? I mean, do you think like events, what they listen to with their earbuds? I mean, what are some of the things?
Everything from loud concerts to any really noisy environment. Personal listening devices that are utilized at high volume levels are a major contributing factor to younger individuals.
How do you know when it's a problem? Is it if it's going on for several weeks, or if you're just getting it at all?
Well, that's an interesting question because it varies. Some individuals have constant tinnitus and they know it and they have it and they just don't pay attention to it and it doesn't seem to bother them at all. Other individuals have it sometimes or all the time and it really can negatively impact their quality of life. It can cause sleep disturbance, anxiety, problems concentrating. There's a lot of different things that can come of tinnitus, and it all depends on the individual.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't want that ringing sound in your ear all the time.
Right.
So let's talk about the treatment procedure. They come to an expert, and then what? What can be done to stop that?
Well, to answer your question, nothing can be done to stop the tinnitus. And unfortunately, whenever someone reports to any healthcare professional, a lot of times they're just told that they have to live with it, that there's no cure. And part of that is true. Though we can't get rid of the ringing, we can treat and manage the tinnitus, we say. And we do that through a few different mechanisms. One is sound therapy. So using sound therapy on a tabletop noise device or in a hearing aid in order to help the individual habituate to the tinnitus or become less bothered by it. Then the second mode of treatment that is typically used in conjunction with sound therapy is adjustment counseling. And what adjustment counseling seeks to do along with that sound generator is reduce the negative emotional response to the tinnitus and help the individual learn and understand that the tinnitus isn't threatening or causing them any physical or bodily harm.
And besides, you know, the loud events, the music blaring, what else can you do to reduce getting this?
Well, protecting your ears is certainly number one. Another thing we recommend is monitoring your hearing, especially for those who have a family history of hearing loss or tinnitus, or have occupations or hobbies that expose them to a lot of noise. You want to see an audiologist annually, have your hearing tested, and certainly communicate to your audiologist if you have any ringing in your ears. Because before hearing loss may show up on an audiogram, on an actual hearing test, there are further tests that audiologists can do to look at potential damage to the hearing mechanism.
Yeah, that's a really good advice right there. Get it checked out early. Thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate that.
Thank you.